How's it going today, guys? Welcome to another Timberline Productions gear demo. Today we're taking a look at the Strymon DIG, which is the newest digital delay offered from Strymon. This one is a dual digital delay that offers a lot of excellent functionality outside of what the traditional dual digital delay that was in the Strymon timeline. Taking a look at the controls here, we have the time knob. That's going to be whatever you set the time at. If you don't use the tap tempo, I highly recommend the tap though. This has the subdivisions of whatever you set time 1 to be. So this one's going to be triplet eighth, eighth. This one I'll get more into later. Dotted eighth, and then it looks like dotted quarter. Over here is the repeats of both of them, as it is right now that it's actually synced, but you can unsync them when you get into the dual features of it. I won't get much into that. This is the mix of the secondary delay, whatever time 2 subdivision is, and then mix of the delay 1, the quarter note delay. As with all Strymons, it can go 100% wet, which is really handy if you run in parallel in your effects loop. Now, taking a look at these controls over here, we have the modulation. This one is no modulation, light modulation, and then deep modulation. And you can use deep modulation in conjunction with time 2 set to a time of 0 for actually a really cool chorus effect. But we won't get much into that. Up here we have the types of processing that you actually get right out the box. This one is 2496 processing. This one's a very, very crisp digital delay. ADM is the one I had it set on for the intro, and that puts more of a percussive sound on the initial attack of the note. And then 12-bit, which is going to be a lower resolution, therefore a little bit darker, a little bit warmer. So going just back to the original settings I had it at, right now I had it set for a good dotted eighth sound, a very rhythmic and U2-y sounding, just good for that dotted eighth rhythm sound or the lead line I was playing on the intro. So that's the excellent sound of the ADM, which is very percussive, very hard hitting. That's one thing that this delay does extremely well. Jumping into some of the other things it can do, we can actually set mix 2 to 0. We'll mess with that a little bit and lower that. Actually, we'll raise that so I can kind of give you guys a better idea of just without both delays running at the same time, the different sounds you can get out of it. We'll go to a deep modulation. So that's the onboard modulation there. Going to 12-bit, we'll turn modulation off for that. Oh, turn up my volume. So as you can hear, it's still pretty crisp. It's not intended to be an analog sounding delay, but it is a little bit darker, a little bit warmer, and that is actually the main setting I'd use to get more ambient sounds out of the DIG. Now, one thing that I don't think a lot of people touch on a whole lot with the DIG is actually it has a lot of great use for ambience, for things like swells and washes. That's where the top subdivision comes into play. What that is that's called the Fibonacci ratio. Without getting too technical, none of the delays will ever land on top of each other. So it's always going to be a very consistent, thick wall of sound coming out of it. And that, in conjunction with some deep modulation, a little bit of higher mix, is going to yield an excellent, excellent swell sound. So just that right there is with very, very little reverb on my amp, nothing really smearing it outside of that actual subdivision sound. And with that, that means you can get an excellent kind of mushy, not really articulate sound out of it, which is excellent if you're wanting to do ambient style music. Another thing that it does really well, if I back down on the mix, really bring the repeats and the speed up, leave it on, we can even change up the mode, is it can do the washy stuff really good. So that's another excellent use for it. Again, I'm only using really light reverb on my amp, which, by the way, is the Blackstar HT Studio 20, playing through my my Telecaster on the middle Strat pickup and the bridge pickup. And so that's another excellent thing about this is the ambient usage for it, and that's one thing that I don't think it gets a lot of credit for in terms of what it is capable of. On top of those features, you can also get a filter on the delay with this knob, I believe, in the secondary functions, and that can even darken it a little bit more and get even more of a smeared sound out of it. And that, coupled with an excellent reverb, will result in excellent ambient tones. So hopefully this brief demo just kind of gives you a good idea of the Strymon DIG and all of its ambient capabilities. Hopefully I was very informative on it with you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to go ahead and leave a comment. But other than that, thank you guys so much and have a nice day.